Hey, it's Jason. So I have a bit of an issue, and I thought this would be a good video to show how I'm going to use this 25-foot snake for drains. So this is the utility sink on the first floor of my house, and directly above it is the kitchen sink and the whole kitchen, and directly through this wall is a little mini bar sink. What's happening is all of these, presumably the wash machine as well, drain through the same drain. So effectively one side of the house, it's draining, but if you try to run a gallon or 2 gallons, if you fill the sink upstairs up, it all comes down, and you can see it's not draining proper. So my first thought was, even though every other drain and shower and bath and toilet in the house was functioning, the septic probably needed to be emptied. We have to empty ours about every 2.5 years. It's a big tank. I believe it's a 1,500-gallon tank outside under the ground. And then the water and the liquid goes into a dry well. But the toilet paper and everything that doesn't break down sits. And given we've been home with COVID for so long, I suspected that that was an issue. So the first thing I did, because I needed it anyways, was pump the septic. He came out yesterday, he pumped it. Everything's nice and clean, there's no issues. The baffle's working, everything is fine. The dry well is fine. But I still have this backup happening. So I'm now in our rec room / kids playroom. And I have a little mini bar that's behind this this slider, and my thought is this sink would back up as well when we overflow and have too much water coming from the kitchen, the wash machine, or that utility sink. It's much easier on this one to remove that P-trap. And when I remove it, it should enable me to have a straight shot into the drain that everything seems to be backing up into. So I've elected to go ahead, and you can see the main drain back there, to do it here. So that means I'm going to remove this P-trap, just unscrew this section there. Water's probably going to come out. And then that's going to give me more of a straight shot to get into the drain. So I'm being pretty optimistic with the tools I need. A bucket to catch it when I unscrew it. It should be hand tight, the P-trap. A drill that I'm going to hook up, but the actual device I'm going to be using. Now I want to give you a quick tutorial, because a lot of the YouTube videos, I saw people using it inaccurate. Based on the instructions, and I saw people not really explaining how this worked. I'm not a plumber. I've never used one in my life. I just read the instructions, did a lot of research, and I'm going to show you some key components of this. So I have the camera above me because I don't want you to really see this. So this has a nice pistol grip that you can really hold on to. You'd actually be holding it this way. This is the area, the bit, that you would put your screw gun on. So you would basically be able to put your gun on there and move it. This also lets you wind it out by hand. And then this bit here is what you loosen and tighten to actually feed it out. So when you begin to drill or really begin to turn it, you don't want this moving in and out, so you're going to tighten that and hold it. So this is 25 feet. What you're going to want to do is basically loosen this up and slowly snake it, tighten it up a little bit, wiggle it, slowly snake it more, and you never want to have more than probably 4 inches of this exposed as you're doing it. Some people I saw were hooking their drill to it right away and trying to hold this as they moved it, and that can be really dangerous. It can cut your hands. So you never want this to be turning, because it could slice your finger, I would think, if you got it caught. You want to feed it by hand, wiggle it in there, feed it by hand, wiggle it in there. I'm going to attempt to show that. And then once you hit the clog, or an area that might be a 90-degree or a P-trap, if you're doing that, you're going to want to tighten that, and then you're going to want to actually feed it in when it's tight, and then start twisting it with the drill, or start twisting it by hand, right, to get that good rotation in there. And when you do that, this will really start to bite on everything and move. So I'm going to attempt to do this with the camera mounted, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to want to do is loosen up this P-trap. It's very easy. And you're going to want to have a bucket, because this definitely has water in it. And I suspect it's all, you know, what wasn't draining out and that sort of thing. It's very tight under this sink, but at the same time, it's a little more accessible. I'm going to twist that out of my way. Not a huge fan of those fittings, that's for sure. I'm going to keep the bucket there. And let me go get some paper towels. I probably should have had them. But as you can see, okay, so I have the snake loosened up. And again, this just goes in the back. It hooks. Then it's going to bend again. And then it will be a straight shot out. So this is the first path I'm trying. So I'm just feeding this by hand. And when it gets to that 90, like I'm at right now, the instructions say to tighten it. I'm holding the pistol grip, and I'm turning it and applying some pressure. And you're going to want to feed it to get it past that 90. So I got it fed. You basically want to just kind of start twisting it, and it will pop over. So I'm going to loosen up the bit on the snake again, and you can see how easy she's going in there, and I'm just waiting for it to hit something. I suspect right there I'm at the next 90. So I'm going to tighten this up again, and this should be the final curve in the pipe until it gets straight. So I'm going to do the same process. I tighten this up so it won't feed, and I'm going to kind of work it in there and try to get it popped up through that 90. So it went in, it curved, and now it's going back out to where that utility sink was, which is ultimately why I believe the clog is. So you have to be patient. Definitely go slow. So when I was talking about getting around those 90s, I'm going to tilt the camera down. You basically, when you hit it, hold that pistol grip and then take this and turn it. And it's working that little spindle in there. And now you can see I cleared it. It almost like it climbs up into the 90. So you can get past it. So that's the process when you hit it. Just start spinning it slowly, a few inches at a time. Never keep more than what you see here out of the snake. You don't need to pull a bunch out. Because if you do that, that snake's going to flip on you when you're twisting it and be hard to work with. Alright, you'll probably notice I'm back in the laundry room. I snaked through that utility sink, and I didn't feel anything, so I felt like I would get a little bit closer. So I just went ahead and did the P-trap on this sink, and I got 25 foot of snake. I'm at the end of the line on this, in there. I feel like I hit a little bit of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and hook the drill up to it, spin it ever so softly, and wind it back in. Then I have to hook all the P-traps back up. And then I got to see if that did anything. I did cut the sink on upstairs with this undone, thinking if it was not clogged it would drain. And you can see I caught some water. So if this doesn't do anything, I know it's deeper than 25 feet. So let me give it a go. So I got the screw gun hooked up. I'm holding it. I'm just gonna kind of work this thing in and out. And I know I'm getting 25 feet. Nice, and you can kind of put your hand on it and see it's winding it real nice. I'm going to bring some more cable in. Tighten this up a little bit more. Hold my gun, and you can see how the cable. So what I'm doing now, I'm just pulling the cable back out. I've put 25 feet in. On the cable, you know, I'm getting a little bit of nastiness, and I wipe it off as I go, but I'm not getting anything that I would consider a significant amount of debris or anything like that. So a bit disappointed because I put 25 feet in and it does not appear as though I hit anything significant. So what I'm going to have to do now, I'm going to go ahead and hook everything back up and just see if maybe I loosen something up and I put water in there, it will go down. But I don't feel like I hit anything in that 25-foot span that was an actual clog. So let me get all the plumbing hooked back up, clean up under her a little bit, and see if it did anything. I doubt it. The only thing I'm hoping is it agitated something, and maybe that gives it more pressure on. The pressure can push out the clog. But we'll see.